Hey fam, thanks for watching. Happy almost Friday. Okay, I needed to come on here and do my Boomerang review for season 1, episode 3. This season is called Power, and let's just dive right in. Okay, so the show begins with Bryson and Simone going at it, y'all. They are getting it good. They're having sex. Simone is riding the hell out of Bryson, and immediately I'm like, this has got to be a dream, because we didn't leave off like this on the last episode, if you remember. So I'm right there immediately. Basically, she's riding him, and then in the midst of the heat of passion, she tells him, turn over. And he's like, you turn over. And I'm like, what? She's like, no, I asked you first. And so he hesitates, but he rolls over. And I'm like, okay, what's about to happen right now? Basically, she starts massaging him, and I'm like, okay, that's a strange time for a massage, but whatever, float your boat. Anyway, the next thing they show, homegirl is tightening up her strap-on, okay? Literally, she's tightening up the strap-on. And what does she do next? She penetrates him, and he wakes up freaked out because he was, in fact, dreaming, okay? And he shook, basically. That nightmare kind of shook him. And he's like, can't go back to sleep and trying to figure things out. And basically, he's just like, Alexa, play rain sounds. And that's what he falls asleep to, okay? The next scene they're showing, basically, Bryson is in therapy. He's with therapy, and she's telling him it's okay to enjoy anal penetration. And he's like, I know that's cool and everything. He's like, but that is not my cup of tea, all right? And she makes a profound observance here, basically. She explains he's looking at the dream too literally, all right? Sex is about power, and usually the person penetrating is the one with the power. Let's face it, y'all, Simone is in that position. He explains he was in power first, and she asks when he feels powerless, basically. At times in your life, when do you feel powerless? And he explains sometimes at work, and she's like, everybody feels that way at work sometimes. What other time do you feel like that? And he's like, with my mom. And she's like, we've been talking about your mom quite a bit lately. Does Simone remind you of your mom? And he's like, no. She's like, are you sure? And she says she's powerful, smart, and aggressive, okay? So these are traits that his mother basically has, which, honestly, let's face it, from my understanding, in a man's life, they tend to find a wife that is a lot like their mother. Maybe not so much as far as looks, although that can play in here, but definitely with mother's traits, okay? So from there, he says he only talks to his mom about work. And he goes on to say, because she's probing him here, basically that his mom helped him get his job. He says that she wrote the letter of recommendation for him to get his job. And the therapist tells him that sometimes power is stripped away without us even knowing it, okay? She's got some good observations here. He says that he always thought he loved his mom more than she loved him because he was never a priority to her. And she's like, are you a priority to Simone? Okay. And that just leaves him like with some profound, deep thinking. All right. So from there, we see Simone is back at the office where she had quit her job, her parents' building, and she's got a box and she's basically stealing supplies. And of course, her best friend walks up, Crystal, wanting to know, what's up? Why are you taking all these supplies? And she's like, it's my parents' business anyway. Technically, it's not stealing. She's getting, supplies together. That way she could really hook up her office space at home because she's trying to work on her own business. Okay? Let's see. Then we see Bryson enter the room with her and Crystal, Simone and Crystal. And Simone's like, what's up? She wants the tea. And he's like, you've only been gone for 3 days. And she's like, a lot can happen in 3 days. And so he informs her that he convinced Victoria to let them into the film marketing business. And immediately Simone's kind of pissed. She's like, that was my idea. And he's like, it was our idea. And she's like, no. Basically, she's willing to drop it, but she's like, if you need any help. And he's like, nah, I'm good. You could tell she's just being a little shady about it because that's an entitled little brat, okay, y'all? So she's like pausing him before he leaves, like, hold on a sec, where are you starting with this? And he's like, I need a cheap, good singer, basically, for the trailer. And she's like, all right. So the next scene we show is Bryson and Simone's best friend, Crystal. They're in the boardroom, basically, doing a screening for the movie for the management team there, basically. So they're showing them the movie that they want to do. All right. And they come to the end of it, and you can immediately tell that all the board members there, they're not impressed. Okay, they're like, I felt like I was high watching that. And him and Krista go in to tell them that basically this is something for millennials. Okay, they have a different idea about where movies can go and what can be made of them. And honestly, Victoria is tired. It's the very end of the day, and she just hesitantly agrees, basically, because she ain't trying to go back and forth right now. All right. So next scene, Simone and Tia, they meet to shoot ideas basically to each other. Tia's already done, basically Tia is telling Simone, I want you to shoot me in all these different locations, dressed like this and blah, blah, blah. And Simone's not impressed. She's like, it's been there, it's done that, it's played ideas, okay? Simone wants something fresh and new. She wants, and here's where she gets it in, okay? She says she wants Tia to sing a rap. Tia's like, I can't. And Simone says she knows plenty of producers that can basically make Tia sound okay. Like they do with everybody nowadays, right? Like, you don't have to sing, but you can walk into a studio and they can make it sound like a little something. All right, so she lets her know that she wants her to do the song for Bryson's movie. And she says the movie is called Woke. And immediately Tia is like, oh my gosh. She's like, that script, she read that script on, wait for it, MySpace. 8 years ago. She read, that's an old script, okay? She says those directors are on a whole nother level, basically. All right, so Bryson meets with the directors in the next scene, and it's two black guys. They're identical twins. They're like, gosh, they're like modern day flower children. Heck, I don't even know. That's a strange duo right there. I don't know. You'd have to see him to understand what I'm saying. Okay, so he tries to get them to summarize their movie. Basically, you know, it's a big concept, this movie, Woke, and he wants to get him to summarize it. That way it's easier for him to pitch it, sell it, explain it to those who are going to be involved in the process. And they won't, okay? Basically, they're not interested in those not evolved yet. Not evolved enough to summarize the idea of their movie on their own. And Bryson expresses his hope of their success. They made this because they have something to say, basically, and what it means to be black and power. That's what they're trying to say with this entire movie. There's not just one way to be black, basically, Bryson is trying to summarize it at. And they're like, nah, that's corny as hell, basically. They only want black people to see the movie. And he's like, that won't be a success. And they're basically like, well, we have two different ideas of success. He's got two guys here, not at all interested in money, only interested in getting their strong black power point across. It is what it is, all right? So the next scene we show, Tia's in the studio and she's doing her rap. And I don't know. She's not my favorite rapper. It's kind of trash. But basically, she's in there doing her thing, and the producer is definitely tweaking her while she's laying this down. And basically, Simone's kind of not feeling the way that Tia's laying down her rap, because she's coming kind of hard with it. So she asks her to come out the studio, and she's like, I don't know, could you put a smile on your face when you do it? And she's basically telling her the sound that she's going for. So Simone returns to the studio, and she's giving Simone exactly what she asked for here. She changes up the way she's doing it, and Simone really likes the delivery, okay? So once she's completed it, she's like, I'm going to go ahead and or text. I just said, wow. Text Bryson. And she's like, oh, he's just going to come over here like that? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, oh, you just pull on him like that, huh? And she's like, yes. So basically, Bryson gets there, and they play the 2 different versions of the rap that Tia did for him. And they don't tell him which one Tia prefers and which one Simone prefers, purposely, because Tia knows he's going to go for what Simone wants him to. So after he listens to them both, it's like he's kind of hesitant. And they're like, will you just tell us which one you want? And he's like, fine. He likes version 1, which was Tia's version. And Simone's like, really, Bryson? And he's like, yeah, but you could hear the hesitance in his voice. And immediately Tia's like, stand in your power. And he's like, what? And she's like, stand in your power. And it's literally like those words that she just said to him has sucked him back to the very first beginning of this episode, where he sort of gave the power over to the Simone in the bed, okay? It was a very good eye-awakening moment for Bryson. I'm glad he put his big boy pants on, all right? So basically, he's like, yeah, I said what I said. And Simone's like, that's it? And he's like, yeah, that's it. And he's like, look, I got to go. I got things to do. And she's like, so you're just going to leave? And he's like, yeah. And he leaves. And I'm like, there you go, boy. Put them big pants on. The most effective thing you can do with somebody that you're dealing with, that you actually have feelings with, is not give them everything that they're asking for. Because let's face it, y'all, we want a little challenge. We want a little pushback, a little fight or something. That's more interesting, right? Anyway, that's all of episode 3. It was a decent episode. It's like a little breadcrumb episode to get us to the next one. I still like this show. Hope y'all do too. If you like my videos, hit the like button, become a subscriber, and hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I lay down new material. Thanks for watching.